Welcome to the Stronger Together podcast, brought to you by Sandpoint Strength and Conditioning. I'm your coach, Kenny Mark. Today, I am joined by Dawn Swinney. Dawn is awesome. She's been here for a number of years, in and out, and then now permanently. I really appreciate her perspective and what she brings to this gym and this podcast because she's just super positive. Like, she's, again, one of those, I probably said this before about some other people, but she is another embodiment of positivity and support, and just the kind of person that, like, she was just genuinely interested in your day and you. And that's, I don't know if it's rare, but it's definitely appreciated when you find those kind of people. And Dawn is one of those kinds of people. I also appreciate her perspective because she's been doing CrossFit or functional fitness or whatever the heck you want to call this style of fitness for about as long as I have. And so we have a little bit of a shared perspective on the longevity, what this has looked like over the last 10 to 15 years. So enjoy this conversation and do yourself a favor and get to know Dawn. I know. Yeah. Good morning, Dawn. Thanks for doing this. I'm super excited. You're one of those people that every time you walk in and you're smiling, you're positive, you have this like awesome persona and like aura about you that I really appreciate. So I'm very excited to have you, even if it's digital, that people get to experience that. So yeah. So let's, when did you start here?
Thank you.
Remember this. I always tell people I don't know if I don't remember. So
I think I started dropping in.
I think I do remember this.
I bet it was about 2014, 2015. Yeah, it was when I would come see my parents.
Yeah.
Probably over Christmas. I always had to get some workouts in. I remember.
Of course. Yeah, I do remember this now because it was always like, yeah, of course.
Can I come drop in?
You know, just show up. We're happy.
Mm-hmm. And then, and like every time I'd come home, I'd drop in. So yeah, it's probably been since about 2014-ish, 2013, somewhere in there.
That's right. Yep.
We were living in Nevada. I'm from here, but spent most of my adult life up until
and you were
the last couple of years in Nevada, Reno.
Just a few years ago.
Yep. Yeah. July of 2023, made the big move up. My husband retired in April of 2023, and that was always our plan, was to come back here for me. He's born and raised in Reno, Nevada. It was a big move for both of us, moving in your 40s
it is. I totally 50s. Agree.
It's a big kind deal.
Of nice. Like there's
it's different.
An opportunity there in a way. Like I've told a lot of people, like, so when we moved and started the gym, there was an opportunity to kind of start fresh with a new identity. And I don't mean that like I needed to change who I was, but like I think you get this opportunity where the people that you've lived with for a long period of time know you as who they've known you. And so sometimes your personal evolutions or whatever, like that's a slower adoption. And I think when you move, you get a chance to be like, no, this is who I am. And this is what I do. And this is like, you kind of get a fresh start.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's like walking into every situation as the new kid. You kind of have to, navigating new friendships as an adult and every situation is new. Even though I grew up here, it's totally different than it was when I was a kid. And I'm totally different. And so, new gym, new jobs, new church, new, everything. And everything is new. So it's
100 million. Yeah, so much courage. I agree.
It takes a bit of courage.
When we did it, it was so exciting at first. And then as soon as we got here, there was this period of time where we're like, oh crap, what have we done? Like, we don't know anybody to like, we have to find new friends. We have to find new, again, all the things you just listed, all new everything. And that like dating period of friends is really interesting because you have dinner with some people and you're like, okay, I don't think we'll be doing this again. And some people are like, hey, you're amazing. But it's just very strange.
Totally. That's exactly how I describe it. It's like dating. It's like, are you my people?
Time to go.
Okay, this was awkward. Like,
right.
See you never.
Yep, and a small pool.
Standpoint, so we do see people. But no, I mean, it was good for us too. It was really interesting because when we moved, we had really no plan coming up here with where we were going to live. My parents have a dry cabin on their property, 265 square feet, and that's where we moved. So we moved into a cabin with no electricity, no running water, no no amenities. And it was in July, so it was like fun. It was camping, and we had a porta potty, and it was. But yeah, so we not only moved, but we moved into like my husband retired. We moved into 265 square feet with a lot to figure out every day.
Sure.
Including just like how to cook a meal. Like, I mean, it was, I would
How long were you guys there?
That
How long were you guys living there?
with your spouse, but we lived there for 4 months. And then as soon as the winter month, as soon as it started getting darker and colder in the fall, I mean, we knew like, we're probably not going to spend the winter here. And, oh, thank God, my parents' neighbors right next door to them, they just had a vacation house, and they offered it to us for rent. So we rented right next door to my parents, and we moved into that. They called it a cabin, and we moved in, and I just went around. I turned the water on. I turned the lights on. I was like, oh, this is amazing.
That's a good way to test your relationship. Living in a small, with no friends,
Oh, yeah. Was retirement alone is, I mean, that's a totally, a difficult thing on its own, but then to throw in moving out of state and moving into very, very tight quarters with, no creature comforts. It was a test for sure, but
well, if you got through that, you're probably doing okay. What did your husband retire from?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep. He worked for the city of Reno as yep. That's how we both met. We were both in fire. I had a whole career with the Forest Service, and we were both out on a fire in Utah.
And then you were living in prison in the remote Sagal. You guys are in Sagal, right?
Yeah. Oh, that was, we were way out towards Bottle Bay. So not only moving, but moving 25 minutes out of town, and we live in town now. But it was
you're right though. The retirement thing is an interesting, sure. Like how is it again, back to the identity thing? Like, has that been a bit of a hardship for him, and what you guys are doing, and as far as like the routine and the purpose and the, what do I do every day? Is that challenging? Awesome. Good. I mean, walk me through that.
For sure. I think it's settling out now, but it took some time. I mean, like I said, we did everything. So isn't there like the 5 things that cause the most stress in a relationship? And I think one of them is moving and one of them is retirement. And we did those 2 things in a very short time frame. And so we had kind of something else to focus on. Like, he went from having the purpose of work to having the purpose of like downsizing and packing and all of that. And then getting up here after a few months. I think it's taken some time for both of us to kind of figure out like, what does our new normal look like, and what does life look like after retirement? And fire is very special in the way that, especially him doing municipal fire, they live with people for 48 hours at a time. His shift was 48 hours. And so it's really a family, and he was incredibly involved. And so when you lose that kind of overnight, it's challenging. And then he can't just go like have coffee with a bunch of the retirees or even a bunch of the guys that are still working. Like, we moved, so it's taken some time to kind of figure out life post.
Yeah. What does that look like? I mean,
Work.
This is getting a little personal. But I mean, it is an interesting conversation. I was having this just a week ago with a friend, and I was like, well, what are you going to do when you retire? Like, how long can you sit on the beach? And I know that's not, I was like, how long can you do that? Because I can do it for like 2 or 3 hours, and I go crazy because I'm like, I need to do something. So I think finding that something to sink your teeth into every day is pretty important.
I think it really reveals like what we find our identity in. And I know that when I left the Forest Service in 2018, I've been doing that for 17 years, and it was a great job, and I really am so appreciative for it. But when I left the Forest Service, I had to take some time and kind of think like, okay, so who am I aside from what I do? yeah, what we do is important and it's definitely part of our identity. But if your entire identity is wrapped up in what you do, and then all of a sudden you don't have that, or you retire, or it changes, it can be a real
Mm-hmm.
time, like unsettling time. And so I think because I had gone through that before my husband retired, we had a lot of conversations about like what's our identity in, and where are we putting, if this all goes away, like are we going to be okay? And so we had a lot of those talks before, and I think that was really helpful just to realize that we are separate from what we do. So just we kind of come back to that a lot. When he has struggled or whatever with what is my purpose here, like we come back to that conversation a lot, because I think it's very unsettling for I maybe women too, but I think men in particular, like it's just kind of like this. It's a struggle as far as identity, separating what I
100.
do
Yeah, I've
from who
had
I am.
this conversation with a therapist a lot where it was like, hey, we have ups and downs at the gym. It's just a small business. That's how it goes. And it's
Mm-hmm.
very interpersonal. There's a lot of relationships. It's just, there's no way around that. And most of the time she asks, she's like, well, what's your identity with that? And how does that affect you? What would you be without the gym? And I've been at a loss without that answer, because I'm like, I don't know. I'd probably just, if I lost the
Mm-hmm.
gym, I'd probably start another gym. That's my ego,
Yeah.
my identity, my personality. Like it's all wrapped up in this thing. And she's like, well, that's not an
Mm-hmm.
option. Like so anyways, it's just, I find this conversation and topic fascinating, especially with the fact that, there's such a drive and motivation for people to fulfill their purpose occupationally with something that they love, right? Like that's the dream.
Yeah.
I feel like I get to live that. I feel like, I imagine a career in fire is something that most people don't just like, fall into necessarily, maybe sort of, but like, I think you have a
Yeah.
drive to accomplish that, and it's competitive. And so when you are able to do something that you love, not tying your identity or ego into that is even more challenging. It's kind of a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How far do
Definitely.
you break that down? Sorry, I
I
interrupted you.
think.
Well,
Oh
how far
no,
do you
go
break?
ahead.
How
Yeah.
my question kind of, it always ends up reverting back to like, well, how far do I tear this thing down? Like, so what if I don't
Mm-hmm.
live here? What if I don't have a family? What if I live
Mm-hmm.
on so I don't ever, where does the purpose and identity versus construct end? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think you have to figure out what your foundation is and what it is that you let define you. And for my husband and I, our faith in God is really important for us. And so that is our foundation. And that's what we can tie
Mm,
ourselves back to when everything feels kind of like
mm,
unmoored. It's like, okay, who are we? And for us, it's who does God say we are, and what is our purpose is defined by Him. And so that's something that we can always come back to together. And fortunately, we both share that belief. And so that has been instrumental in not just our individual growth, as two separate people, but even just together as a married couple, being able to come back to something that's solid, because this world is really
yeah.
shaky and really uncertain. And for us, that has just been really, I mean, that's our secret, that's our foundation, that's what we come back to. So when our identity feels, like, who am I? What am I? What am I here for? What am I supposed to be doing? That's something that for us we can come back to. And so I think that's really important for, people to have something to come back to that is, their
Yeah.
foundation. That's aside from your job or what you do, because, we're just not guaranteed any of that.
Correct. Yeah. I think a unfortunate side of getting older is you recognize the shakiness of it all. And it sounds, I mean, I just turned 40 this year, but I was chatting with a friend of mine and he just company just filed for bankruptcy. He's probably getting laid off. He's like, man, I never expected anything like this. And he's like, I'm sure I'm going to get through it, but this was never on the map. And it's like that for every, a death of a close family member, whatever. There's a million different things that can happen. And as you get older, I kind of understand why some old people are scared and just like terrified all the time.
Oh,
Like, yeah, I get it. There's a lot more things that can get you or your friends or whatever than I ever expected.
Yeah. You kind of think that it's just always going to be the way it is now. And I mean, that's a big reason that we moved back is my parents they're both in great health, but they are both aging. And we wanted to be a part of that next chapter for them. And just, watching them age. And when we first moved back, we ended up hanging out with them and a lot of their friends. And so we heard a lot about medications and health problems and surgeries. And so, yeah, it's very it's aging is no joke. And, I think fortunately my parents have both really always valued their health, and I grew up very active, and that was always just a part of life. And so they've taken really good care of themselves, but still, your parts wear out. Like we wear out. We are not, as much as we're trying not to age, it's inevitable.
Yeah, for sure. But I think I think that the long view of that's definitely been a theme, I think, for the last, 10 years for me, where, when I was 30, I wasn't super focused on the next 50 years, but definitely over the last, I'd say 5, it's gotten more acute where I'm realizing, okay, these little things I could need to take care of now, because another 50 years from now, it's not going to get better if I don't focus on it now, if I don't pay attention to, I've got a bad ankle, like bad neck. I got all sorts of bad stuff. Yeah. It's probably not going to get better. And I probably want to be around. I'd like to be around for, 50 more years or so. Like, that'd be great. But, and the same thing goes across the board. And I think that's where we can eventually pivot this back to fitness. But I think that's where a lot of the people in the gym are like, okay, if I just do a little bit of this every day, I'll probably be better off and either they've learned from their parents who went the opposite direction, or they're seeing it in themselves, or whatever it is, they've realized like, okay, a little dose of this every day will help me in the long run.
Definitely. Yeah. Don't you have all your days? Don't you have a chart or something?
I'll pivot the camera to tell you there. It's right there.
Oh my goodness.
I love
somebody. Shoot.
Yep. I pivoted it too much. Hold please. I love the what is it called? My Life in Weeks. Mm-hmm. It's if you order it, you can say I think they have 2 options. You can either plan on living to 100 or 86 or something like that. And then it comes pre-filled into however old you are then. And then the idea is that, every week I don't usually check them off every week. It's not a part of a ritual. I just every so often be like, oh crap, I'm a couple of weeks behind. And I've had some people say that looks really like it would cause a lot of anxiety. Like you're watching the sands go through your whatever the heck's, what can I think? The hourglass. Yeah. Sorry. Hourglass. I have a bit of a different, I think there's a little bit of that where it's very minute though, where I think, oh wow, there's another week, or this year's gone by so fast, or I didn't do, like we just ended summer, and most people, if you're like me, you think, man, I wish we were supposed to have done all these things, and we didn't do half of them because it just went by so fast. I think that's going to be how life will probably look at 85, 90 years old. You probably look back and think, man, time went by so fast. I didn't do some of these things, which comes back around to looking at the amount that's left to say, okay, well, to quantify that, especially with Garrison, he'll be 12 in January. We have 5 or 6 more summers with him before he'll move out of the house. And then there's another piece of data or some information that somebody says, like, you're going to spend 90% of your life with your parents up until you're 18. And then after that, you get to only like 10 more percent, because it's only on weekends or afternoons, or it's very sparse comparatively. And so that helps frame up the time spent, whether it's selfish or not. Like it's not a secret. I like to hunt. I like to spend time outdoors. I actually like to spend a lot of time alone. And sometimes those things bump up against like his soccer tournaments or his other events. And, the realization of crap, like this isn't going to be forever. Like I need to go watch the soccer games, and I'll miss out on a weekend of hunting, or I'll miss out on a trip or something else, because there's only 5 more of those. And then it's going to be way, way, way different. At which point, 5 years from now, I hope to have the same, capabilities or fitness or whatever I can do that continues to be able to do the things outdoors that I like to do.
think
But
it's
now
cool.
probably should be
I
focused on
think
this period of life. So
I think that it would
yeah, I don't know.
inspire more intentional living. I mean, we can waste so much time if we think we have a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you kind of just are brought back to the reminder of, I mean, because if I was to look at a chart like that, I would be reminded that like my life is finite here on earth. And so what am I doing to live intentionally to align what it is I say I want to do with what I'm actually doing? And I think, I mean, I think that's awesome because man, we just can waste so much time if, we think we have unlimited amounts of it, Yeah.
Totally.
Another one's down.
Yeah, it's like the summer thing. So that's my favorite analogy. Again, it's a painful one because no matter how much. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's those final weekends in August, and you're thinking, "Gosh, darn it! Like this is coming to a close." Like I had had all these hopes and expectations for what was going to happen, and it was great. But there's certainly we like to go boat camping. We didn't go boat. There's the things you didn't do.
Plus, the summers are so short here.
X, Y, or Z. And yeah, I think it's important to remember that.
It's been glorious lately. I love September and October.
Yes, they are. But these are some of the best months of the year. I think September, October can be some of the best because they're so nice. Yeah. So, sorry, just to kind of go back into the time frame thing. I think it's also hard for the balance though, right? Because you can't just like run up credit cards and live, say I'm only going to live once. Like, why don't we just do all the things we want to do this week?
Yeah.
And it's again, this parallels with fitness because it's not the only thing, but you still, you know what I mean? Like there's a balance. Like I think people tend to assume the gym owner is going to be like Mr. Perfect, works out every day, eats chicken and broccoli and doesn't drink alcohol. And that's not it. But there's a balance to ride.
Definitely.
And
I think
don't know where that is for everybody.
Actually like
it's a good topic of conversation.
It's something we're always striving for, but it's never something that we're going to arrive at.
So you can't just go travel all week or all year.
If you think like if you're trying to balance on one foot, if you're really paying attention to what your ankle is doing to allow you to balance, it's constantly moving. And so balance is like, it's like this unattainable thing. And I don't think that should stop us from trying to obtain it, but just to recognize that it's always going to be in flux. I thought I remember. I can't.
That's
I don't
so
want to
good.
take credit.
Is that yours?
Did you? Is that your? Way too smart for me to say.
Because that's so good.
I just think I remember like when I was working full time with the Forest Service.
You should. You definitely should.
I worked my way into a cubicle.
You should definitely take credit for that if you're not sure.
Me to get out of
just
it,
run with it.
I was always trying to find that. Like, how do I work out? How do I spend time with my family? How do I meal prep and grocery shop and do a good job at work and, get outside and all these things? And it's like, it'll drive you crazy if you're thinking that that's something that you're going to arrive at. Mm-hmm. Like, that's just never going to happen, And so I think don't let that keep you in bed all day, but also like, don't beat yourself up if you realize that it's just constantly moving. So yeah, did I come up with that? I don't know. It sounds like something really like way too smart for me to come up.
Yeah. And I find that to be, I think so many, yes, you definitely did. That's going to be the title of the podcast. That's going to be contributed to you. I'm going to make shirts. This is going to be great. No, but I think that the biggest thing, or again, I love your analogy, but I think one of the bigger things about that is the expectation that people have on their own balance or by seeing what they perceive other people's balance to be, especially with social media. I see this like people like, oh, my meal prep. And they have this big grandiose meal prep day. And I'm like, you waste your whole freaking Sunday doing meal prep when you could be outside with your family? Like you're a psychopath. But I think people who are so disconnected from that. Like I'm on this, this side of the whiteboard or whatever, where I know what's reality. I know what most people are doing. I have a unique window into that world. And I think most people who are feeling shame about their own behaviors and lack of balance, they see the other people who they think are up at the crack of dawn every day.
I'm laughing
10 miles and then they go home and they have their whatever pre-made meal that they already did. And
all
they do
the things
their
that we're
ice
supposed
bath
to be doing.
and their cold or their
it's like
sauna.
the guy that I don't know. He does like
that's
this
not,
funny
nobody's
parody
doing
of
that. And
waking
if they
up
are,
and I,
they're
I
crazy
wake up
and
and
they
then
don't
I
have any
spend
friends.
time in silence
So,
and then I do this and then I,
that's cool.
stare at the sun and then I go have an ice bath and then I get in the sauna and like all the things that were recommended and I'm fasting and
Yeah.
it's hilarious because you're just like, none of those things are bad necessarily, but like, yes, because of social media and all of the resources we have nowadays, the expectations we put on ourselves are so unrealistic. Like, I still have to just like, I don't know, do regular life. I don't have the time for all that. And then you beat yourself up. And I think a lot of people just wind up, not trying to do any of it because it's just all so overwhelming. And I see that. It's like, God. And then there's always a new thing. Like, okay, now this is bad for you. Well, hold on a minute. You've been telling me to do this for so long. And now I'm on the board with that. And now we're not doing that. Like, God, it's just like whiplash constantly. If we allow ourselves to, let social media dictate what we're supposed to be doing.
Always a new thing.
Yeah, they do. Who's buying those?
It is.
Right.
Yeah. Social media, popular media, all the media, like every magazine you walk past and they still have those, right? Like magazines on the checkout aisles. Yeah, they do. Yep. But yeah, well, the people that are so terrified of what they're not doing, they're reading the next thing. But, I've been coaching for a long time. I know you've been coaching and now you're starting to coach for us, which is awesome. But the realization for most people that like, it's so much simpler. Like the requirements are so simple. And that's the complication. Like the complicated part's life. Fitness is easy. Life is hard. If you go to the gym and even if you half-ass it every day, like you don't even have to try.
Drop the mic.
I don't care. You shouldn't care. If you half-ass it, but you go every 3 days a week, like you're doing 80% of what you need to do, and you're going to do just fine in life.
I remember
food.
learning, and
like
of course
if you
I
just
can't remember them all now, but like
most of your meals were protein.
You
like,
original
that's it.
tenets of
That's
CrossFit,
all you need to
like
know.
7 of them.
That's the shortest book on fitness
I can't remember,
that I'm going to write one day.
They're
like
very
just,
simple.
Yeah,
Okay.
intentionally move your body every day for like 30 minutes and eat most of your meals with protein. That's it. That's all you need to know.
I can remember.
You'll be just fine if you do that.
The basics of them, and it was like eat real. Yes, that's what it was. Yes, yeah. I probably should have memorized that because I
think there's 10.
It was just so like common sense, and we just tend to overcomplicate everything.
Yeah.
And then it's overwhelming. It's so overwhelming.
Oh, you mean the 100 fitness in 100 words? Sorry to interrupt you. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. That's brilliant. Yeah. It's fitness in 100 words. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And I get a little bit jaded or cynical because I think everybody else is out trying to sell. Like they're trying to sell me the next thing. Like follow me and I'll tell you all the secrets.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the secret. There's no secrets. Like it's just those are the things. The hundreds of words. I think it's like
that have come out
eat,
of people, coming up with new things.
Eat nuts and fruits and vegetables.
But I think you just have to learn how to
fruits,
filter
vegetables, nuts and seeds. Like try new things.
Be like, okay, I'm gonna
bend, squat, push, pull. Like it's just that. That's it. That's all. That's all it is.
Intake because
I
just don't think we were designed to take in so much information all day long, unrestricted. Like we're just not meant, I don't think, as humans to do that. Yeah.
Yes. I asked a friend of mine this the other day, and I'm curious to hear your answer. Would you go back
into an era that I've already lived through?
Era.
Or like,
and it doesn't have to be dramatic. It can go back. You can go back. And I know you were living in a cabin that basically probably felt like the 1920s, but but so maybe not then. I don't know. Would you go back? Like if you keep your family, you can keep your
that's such a
most of the constructs that we're talking about, but like technologically,
don't live with any regret.
And I don't know, advancement wise,
I do have to say, and this is ironic because I see it on social
or in history, period.
Because
what I'm referencing is what you just said about like social media. I can people can reach me via text, via Slack, via Facebook.
Kids in the 90s because
come over. There's a million ways to reach me.
And
would you go back
it is so
to a time that was
nostalgic to
simpler?
watch kids like walking around high school or like at parties and there's not a phone in sight. Like everyone is interacting. People look a little happier. Like they're just, I don't know. I don't know if I'd go back to the 90s because gosh, the clothes were terrible. Yes, which I'm like, really? I should have kept that. Like, I never thought I needed to keep platforms. But yeah, I don't know if I'd go back. That's a hard question. I definitely don't know that the smartphone has been more beneficial for us than it has been harmful. I go back and forth.
They're back now, though,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Same. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's why I was curious to hear, because some of the stuff you were like, that's how I
Yes.
feel, is where there's too many inputs. Like I think I don't know the term for it or whatever, but like the amount of inputs that I'm subjected to throughout the day is staggering. And I'm sure it's the same for everybody.
Totally.
And I think where I harken back to is the 90s, and maybe maybe I'm just getting old. I'm like, oh, times were better. But when you had to call somebody's house and leave them a message, or like show up at their door, or write them a letter, like that was how you could get in touch with them. But you could just, I think for me too, it's like a little bit of a chasing.
I think that
I don't know if it's dopamine
so
or what, but like if you leave me in silence for too long, or quiet, or without something to do, I inevitably pick up the phone and start finding something. And if I don't have that option, if I'm somewhere where I'm out of service,
sit in silence, or
it's weird.
Instead of
like I had this inclination to reach and grab and try and scroll. Or,
like, and I'm totally talking.
I'm not
to
sure
myself.
that that's healthy.
Like,
so
I'm like, I'm gonna go for a walk without a phone. Like, oh, but I want to check my, it's like, yeah, we're just, I don't know, we're addicted to them. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah. Same.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, my husband and I talk about it. We're like, when a phone breaks or something.
It's easy to feel shame about it for me. Like, I'm like, I need to get rid of this thing. I need to.
Like, should we just go back to a flip phone?
But there's a lot of, there is some good. Like, I think there's advancements in terms of like,
it's
science
tempting,
and
but
treatment of disease,
I don't know.
and
I'm always,
availability of information.
I think about like pretty regularly is like,
there's a lot there, but I don't know. I think I still would probably,
when it comes
I'd still go back to like the
our phones,
cell phone time.
All the, and I don't know what the answer to that is, but I do know that like I need to just have a little more personal self-control when it comes to using it and like locking it and not having it at the table, or like that's the thing too. Like we do have to take a little bit of personal accountability for our own actions and try to just do a little bit better, because I don't think they're going away. Like I don't think we're going to go back to the 90s. And so what do we do from here forward to ensure that like we're not meant to take in so much information at once. So how do we personally limit that for ourselves? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Totally. It is. I think it's probably best served or best thought of as an addiction for me personally, in a way where it's like, okay, there's a balance. I don't know that I need to like go into recovery for it. Maybe, I don't know. But to have it there and not pick up the drink or do the drug or whatever it is, because it's here. Like it's around, it's available, which, as I've referenced for people with food stuff, it's like, hey, don't keep it in the house, because if you keep it in the house, you're going to eat it. Like it's a drug. If you're addicted to whatever, cocaine, you're probably not going to keep a lot of cocaine in the house, because you're probably going to do it. But the phone thing, like it's kind of a requirement of society these days. And so you got to keep it in your pocket, but you're not, I don't know. It's an interesting thing to work through.
Yes.
When you
we
figure
don't
it out,
want
let
to
me
be
know.
printing out MapQuest directions anymore.
Well, also, like, I think actually you're coming back to your experience with your living situation when you moved here. Like going back to the basics maybe isn't as good as it sounds.
Yeah.
But there's also the appreciation of like the maps and all the stuff I do have on my phone. Like if I got rid of it and I was like, oh crap, I need to get the Thomas guide out to drive her out. Like I'm going to get lost for sure. There's no way I'm going to understand how to get somewhere, how long it's going to take me, where the nearest food is. Like I'll probably die.
Well, I started CrossFit in 2010.
I don't know. There's that balance too.
It was like really new.
Yeah. My Tom on the thing.
Oh man, the gym
that was not as cool. So
they were doing.
Maybe there is that appreciation of not having it versus having it.
They just like
maybe
wrote the workout up on the board, and then you were kind of just like,
instead of abuse.
Okay, now do it. Like it was very rudimentary, and
we have a couple minutes. I got a
completely
thing in about 10 minutes, but I do want to talk about your old gym, our gym, your coaching, like your experience through this stuff. I know we kind of went backwards. I usually start with the fitness side of things, but tell me about that.
Yeah, I just drank the Kool-Aid. Oh my gosh, so hard. I was living, eating, and breathing CrossFit
Dang.
and going for PRs and, just writing all my scores on the board. And it was fun.
I
It
don't think
was a
anybody did in
fun
2010.
community. Back then, the gym was really young. The owner was young, and all
Yeah.
the coaches were young and so competitive, doing competitions, the whole thing. And then when I left the Forest Service, the owner at the gym, he had approached me like a couple months before I left, and he was like, "Hey, I know you're about to make this big life change. Do you want to come coach?" And I was just like, "Oh my gosh, it's scary. It's like being asked to be on a podcast. It's like, no." But then when you think about it, you're like, and I did need something to do because I didn't have a plan really for when I left. And so, yeah, I coached for a couple
Yeah.
years and really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I kind of burned myself out. I actually took like a 3-year break from everything CrossFit gym thing, like CrossFit related. I took a big break, and then I wound up going back to the gym like a couple months before I moved because I was just like, I miss the people, and I knew I was moving, and I had just had a completely different approach though. Like I was completely done with all the competitive, aspect of it, and I really enjoyed it, and I was like, I love this style of working out. Like it kind of like felt good in not a physical way. It definitely hurt after. Yeah, 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 totally. And so yeah, so then when I came back here, I was just like, well, first
Yeah.
of all, I need a social life. I can't just stay in a cabin in the woods. So I think I came into the gym like one of the first few weeks that we were back, and was like, I need to be here. I need to work out and see people and, get to know people. And so, yeah, been here ever since. And
Yeah. I know what you mean. 100%. Yeah. It does
really
and it
enjoy
doesn't.
the
Yeah.
community.
It's hard, but it does.
Amanda asked
It
me if
resonates
I'd
with
be
me
interested in coaching
physically
the summer that I
in a
moved back.
positive
And
way. Yeah.
I was, I think, still kind of fresh off of that burnout / overwhelm / had just gotten back into it and was really enjoying it. And so it was like, ooh, I just didn't feel like it was the right time.
Yeah.
But she kept asking me, and then we moved to town, and I feel far enough removed, and I definitely feel like I'm a different person now too than when I, coached before. I feel like I've matured in my just whole approach to working out. I'm all about longevity and not getting hurt, and reaching personal goals, not necessarily like winning anything. So, and helping other people too
Yeah.
with that. Yeah. Yeah. I can't imagine.
Totally. Yeah. That era of 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the maturation of the CrossFit community and a lot of us who started in that era. Like it was a lot of fun, but it was completely unsustainable. I just did a podcast with Chris Spieler, and we had a really good long conversation. For him, like he's an 8-time CrossFit Games competitor. Like he's like, dude, I just could not
And I think,
do it anymore.
I think you've
like that's it.
kind of seen that
He's
with
like, it was
CrossFit too
bonkers.
in
Like,
general.
I could
Like
not.
when it
He's
started,
like, every so often I'll have a
I
hard
know
workout.
Greg Glassman was a little bit older,
kind of what you
but
just
like
said.
a lot of young,
I like
there was a lot of
this
young
style
energy
of
there.
fitness,
And I
but
think
the
as people have
competitive
grown
side
up,
of it
I
is
always
completely.
kind of in my mind was like,
I know of a
CrossFit
couple
doesn't
people that
necessarily
have done it for a
have like
long
a
period of time and have
long-term,
still continued to
like
enjoy the like
long-term
competitive aspects of
data
it.
to say like, is this good for
Like
us
at a high level. I
long-term
mean, it's always
to
kind of
be
nice to
going
have
this hard
the
and
community
being competitive?
push
Like it didn't, and so I do
without
think
like
that
comparing times.
there's
and
been a bit
scores.
of an evolution with CrossFit.
But I think
Well,
that's
they've
been
kind
like
of had
the
to,
evolution of this thing for most of us.
and
like,
just
okay,
a lot of
I
other
like the thing,
options on the
but
board
I don't
too,
need to make
not
it
just
the
CrossFit.
thing.
Like functional fitness is like, it's still a thing. It just doesn't necessarily need to be called CrossFit. And so, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's what's cool
Totally.
about the level method too. Like My
Yeah, I
the
think
gym
that's
I came
what,
from did not use
we're not
that,
an
so this was
affiliate
all
anymore.
new
And
to
that's what I
me.
tell most of the people. So I said,
And I
hey,
think it just
I just
allows
think
for
as a broader
so many
scope,
different,
one of the
it's so
best
much
things
more
that CrossFit ever did
accessible.
was expose people to
But
other,
also, I
like all the
think
different kinds. There was
for people that
gymnastics,
are a little
emphasis, there
more
was
prone to
powerlifting,
being
there was Olympic
highly
lifting, there was
competitive, and
running, there was
you know,
rowing, there
because
was all these things. And I
I
think that the
still hear three, two,
conglomeration
one,
of all these
go,
things
and
was a net
I do go into
good.
competitive mode. That's why I've become a
The
build warrior.
delivery
Like
of
I
that
do build
wasn't
Monday,
always the
Wednesday,
best
and Friday. Like
in a
I
more
do build.
well-rounded
I don't
perspective, where it's
actually even remember
like
the
every
last
day
time I did like
we're going to
the
compete, or
regular
every
quote
day we're
unquote
going to do
workout.
whatever comes out of the
Just because it
thing.
feels better for me. And I'm also
And I
very
think,
aware of
like, again, as
myself.
we've
Like
all matured a
sometimes when
little
it's
bit, it's
three, two,
still a
one, go,
great
like I
style of
still
fitness
like
with
go hard,
regard
like
towards a
I'm
longer term
28 and not
success. So,
42. And I
yeah.
almost always end up getting injured at some point, because I just can't sustain that anymore. So I think the level method is such a great idea, not just for newer people, but for people who like me or other people who maybe need to like pull back a little bit more and be like, hey, I'm just because I can doesn't mean that I should. And I don't have to figure out what to do. Here's like a bunch of different options for
Yeah.
what I can do,
Love
and
that.
I'm still going to get a great workout, and I'm probably going to
I
feel
love that.
better because
Yeah.
like I love mountain biking, I love skiing, I love hiking. Those are the things I want to be healthy and strong for. Like, yeah, the gym is cool, but like I don't need to be like winning anything anymore, So like I'd rather be outside enjoying my outdoor pursuits. So what can I do in the gym that's going to get me there? Like probably not try to do black and, kill myself 5 times a week. That's just not going to work for me personally. Mad respect for people that it does. Yeah. Or you were too sore to do that. Yeah, totally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same.
And
No, I think
honestly,
that's
like,
most.
no, kind of like we were
Yeah, but
talking
it's also
before,
that
like,
that's
people don't
probably the
care.
thing for the
People
gym. And I
are
think that's the
so
thing
much more
is in terms
focused
of the
on what it is
evolution for
that
most
they're
of us
doing.
was
Like,
in
they
2014,
probably don't even
2015, it
notice
was
that
the
well, they
gym was
might
the
notice that
thing.
you're
Everything
doing glute
outside of the
because
gym
I used to
was
like,
an
people
afterthought
look
at
at
best.
you're the
And
gym
oftentimes
owner.
I wouldn't do the things outside
But
of the gym because
I
I wouldn't want
actually
to
think
be
it's a really cool
sore
thing
or
because
beat
it
up. I wouldn't
shows
want to
like,
ruin my
hey,
workout.
yeah,
Now
I'm
it's,
doing what's best for
yeah.
me, and it's
So,
going
yeah,
to,
exactly right. But now it's
aligns
the
with what
complete other
I'm
way
at
around.
right
It's like,
now.
oh, hey, I'm going skiing
Because I
today.
think
Like
there's
I'm
still
gonna
this like,
I'm
oh,
gonna
I should
turn
be
it down a
doing
bit.
this or I should be doing that kind of
And again, I think
mentality with
that's a big
certain people.
evolution
But
for those of us
I think you
who've been a
just
part of this
you
for a
can
long
you
period of
model
time.
really well. Like, no, these
And
are
it is
the
like you
things that
said.
are
It's I put
most
the
important to
restraints
me,
on
and
myself
so
to
what I'm
say,
doing in
like hunting. It's
here
hunting season right now, so I'm working
is
out a
going to
couple days a
align
week,
with that.
maybe, and I'm hiking and doing. And I'm like, I'm doing blue, maybe purple, but those are my rule. Like I'm not. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if anybody's goading me into that. I don't care what the person next to me is
Yeah,
doing. Like that's just
yeah,
what I'm doing, and it feels good. Yes. Right.
yeah. No, I agree. I think even just the other day, I was doing the build workout, and a couple of the folks in the class were like, come on, just do,
Yeah.
and it was a bunch of wall balls. And I wanted to go mountain biking the next day. And I was like, God, I want to do that because it'd be fun. But then I'm like, no, I'm totally fine doing build because I have something I want to go do tomorrow that's outside.
Yeah. Thanks. I agree. I think that's. I mean, I'd be lying if there wasn't a little bit of me that was like, oh, I wonder what people think if I'm doing
Yeah.
this weight or this thing. But with the way I kind of talk myself into it, regardless, is like that is the example I'd like to set. Is like, hey, I probably could do this stuff, but it's probably not what I should do. The can and should are very different terms for people. So, yeah,
Yeah, definitely. And that's what's going to keep you working out like later into life and like better for life later in life too. I think. No worries. Yeah, of course. Thanks for asking me.
and I think that's a really important skill too. Is that knowing you can say no to things, which sounds like dare or whatever when I was a kid, like say no
Yeah.
to say no to wads, whatever. But if it's not the right thing, to be able
Yeah,
to say,
thanks.
hey, that's not the
Sounds
right
good.
decision. I think that's a really important thing for
Right.
people in the long. There's a balance. Like you want to be able to get encouraged to try new things or I don't know, push yourself. But at the same time, it's important to know where that line is and what is actually the best thing for you. I totally agree. And I think that's unfortunately the best way to end it. Not unfortunately, because I'd love to continue this conversation, but I unfortunately got to run to my next thing. But this has been awesome. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate your perspective and being a part of the gym and all the years of dropping in now being one of the family and surviving your cabin life with your husband. That's good. I'm proud of it. That's important. Maybe we'll do a whole other podcast on how to do that. Cool. Well, thanks, Don. I'm sure I'll see you later. All right. See you. All right. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. I hope you got to know Dawn a little bit better because she is just a tremendous person. And I hope that incited some inspiration for you to get to know her better in person. And if you have not yet joined us here at the gym, but you know you need to surround yourself with more people like Dawn who are there to support, encourage, and inspire you, please send me an email, Kenny@sandpointstrength.com, and I'll be more than happy to help get you started here with us.